I think kids should have jobs. And the left, they get so offended by this, and conservatives are such spineless losers that I have no problem saying children should have jobs. I ain't talking about a coal mine, dude. I'm talking about a paper route. I'm talking about, working at the family business, the grocery store.
Little vocations. Like, kids are very... so I have lots of family members that I've watched grow up, and they're so curious and passionate about everything when they're that age growing up. They want to ask you a million questions. They want to shadow you. I'm not going to say what kind of family members out of privacy, but like when I'm working at my desk drawing, they will hover. What are you doing now? How are you doing that? How do you draw that? Hey, look at this drawing I made. They're so interested just because they're seeing an adult do it. And their mirror reflex, we're all born with it. I want to copy the thing that I'm fascinated by.
Yeah.
If they will osmose anything they're around. So why not have them around? That's a great idea. Have them around the parents, have them around a vocation, and they will learn those things instead of whatever garbage they'll find from strangers.
And I think Matt Walsh, it being a good example, I think his kids should watch a large portion of his commentary and they should watch him do it.
It's fair.
I say a large portion because I understand there are things inappropriate for kids. Sure. And if Matt is targeting high level, adult subjects, obviously not that. But having your kids around, I'm not saying he doesn't do this. I'm just saying, using him as an example. You should bring your kids to work and tell them, sit and watch, here's how I work. They can learn those things. I
like the examples of like guys who go to the range. They're teaching their kids how to responsibly use firearms and stuff.
Yeah, and except for that one guy who gave his daughter we gave her an Uzi. Fully auto.
Wow.
Yeah, there are irresponsible parents. And just because they're irresponsible parents doesn't mean you don't teach your kid gun safety or, how to
It makes it more important to be responsible, yeah. Obviously don't give weapons to kids who aren't... I just use that as an example. Maybe it's a bad example.
I feel like so much of what we hear in movies and TV is anti-child propaganda, to be honest. Like the people saying like, oh, I was on a plane, the baby wouldn't shut up. And it's just like, ask yourself why you're mad about that. Serious question though.
Selfish.
I just don't get annoyed by crying babies. Never, for any reason. I don't get annoyed by kids at all. I'm at a restaurant and there are kids and they're acting up and the parents are getting angry. I'm laughing about it. I'm like, this is human life, man. In that vein too, I've never understood the obsession with trying to be permanently young. Like I can understand not wanting to die. But this idea of people getting plastic surgery to look younger, I'm like, dude, being old is a part of being human. Live.
It's like when you find pictures of high schools in the 80s, they tried to make themselves look older.
That I understand, though. You want to be like the adults.
And now adults want to be like young people, which is puzzling.
Right.
Obviously I'm afraid of mortality, so I want to look as young and fresh as possible. That I can understand.
I always I understand like when you're old, your bones get achy, your muscles hurt. I don't care about the wrinkles. I don't care about the gray. I got gray hair in my beard.
I'm seeing the Reaper's hand on my shoulders. So I want to look, I'm not saying George, but I understand why someone would want to look younger because they're afraid of death. Fine, I get that.
Yeah, but I guess my thing is people, it's the idea I'm trying to bring up is about children for the most part. How we create these tropes that having children is bad. They say don't have kids because can you afford it? Who has ever been able to afford kids? I mean, obviously there are rich people who can.
Look at pictures of the Depression.
Right.
Huge families.
In the Great Depression, people had kids.
And unfortunately, back in those days, a lot of the kids, they got like really sick and they would die of starvation or something. But like, and we're in the generation where that kind of thing almost can never happen.
It's just really, to be honest, like the crying baby annoying people is really confusing to me.
I think it's something, it's just selfishness. I know people our age who talk smack about their kids as if it's like a burden. And I mean, not to say too much, but I would love to have kids. I don't yet. We've been trying, as we get older, maybe it gets harder or something, but it's like, I'm genuinely jealous. Like I was at the diner this morning. I saw a really sweet family, 2 kids. One of the kids was looking at me and making faces and I'm making faces back. And I'm like, man, I really wish I had a family like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hope
get started.
I would love to
have 12 kids.
Whatever. Pray for me if you guys are of that. So it's like, yeah, I would love to. And it's like, it hurts my feelings when I see people our age saying bad things about their kids. And it's like, you don't know how blessed you are. You look at people who can't have kids or are struggling and man, Maybe it's a grass is greener kind of thing, but
The grass is greener, no question, hands down.
at the end of our lives, it's so much better to be surrounded by family.
That's
that
my
you
point.
made. Yeah.
The grass is greener, period, no question, and everyone knows it. Because the point that I stressed with that Chelsea Handler thing, you saw that video?
So dumb, yeah.
She's like, I wake up at 6 in the morning, do drugs and masturbate, and I'm happy. And
Great.
it's like, okay,
Good for
well,
you.
look, this is a fact. You will be on your deathbed. And if you go the Chelsea Handler route, a nurse will walk in and say, I'm sorry, it is terminal. Is there anyone we should call? And you will say, no. And they'll say, press the button if you need anything.
Nursing home.
And then you're just sitting on this bed, waiting to die, staring at the wall. Or you can be like Murph in Interstellar. And you'll be surrounded. The doctor will say, I'm sorry, it's terminal.
Yeah.
And then you'll be holding the hand of your husband or wife or son or daughter with all of your children and their grandchildren around saying, we love you and we're here for you. And you can smile knowing that everything you hold dear, all your values, your dreams and ambitions have been imbued in these people that you have created who will carry on your vision for eternity. Or you can die in a sterile environment knowing that you masturbated and did drugs at 6 a.m.
You know, I could tell a personal account of that. Last time I visited you guys back in August, I was in a rush to get back home because my grandmother was in hospice care or something. Like there are places where they can put you in a home, but it's like you're dying, you're not going to make it. Kind
Hospice.
of thing. She had like stage 4 cancer or something. And in the few weeks after I came back home, it was in September, we took turns, all the grandchildren and all of her children. My grandmother had, I'm not going to say the exact number, I guess, but there was like 15 people taking turns visiting her in her house, taking care of her. And man, I think she was so proud. I mean, there's obviously like little family, like, it wasn't perfect, but like we took turns taking care of her. And my grandma, like the sweetest woman you've ever met, she was 90. She was like losing weight. She was, you know, it was very sad, but she's like telling me, I'm sorry that you're here and that you have to take care of me. It's like, you took care of all of us and now it's our turn to take care of you. And that is probably one of the best ways you can go, surrounded by family.
Where did that go?
Well,
It's like,
look,
how did we get to this point
my
where...
grandma was from the old country though.
No, but yeah. I just mean like, where did it go? How do we get to the point where it's like, oh, my parent is ailing, time to put him in a home so I can forget about it.
We're selfish.
Evil.
I want to give people room to come back. And I'm not going to call them evil, but like, let's not be selfish.
I'm saying it is
It
evil.
is an evil thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's such a huge, it's very painful. I'll tell you guys that. Like, people want to avoid pain in our generation, especially. I get that. We're very avoidant of pain.
Yeah.
But like, I'll never forget these memories of like, I was holding my grandmother up. She was lying down on the couch. We had to pick her up and she would like drink water and just like little sips of water. She couldn't even eat. It's like, we were crying like nonstop, but it's like, we honored her so much. But people in our generation, because they're afraid of the pain of doing that, I think they're avoiding it. Maybe the reason they don't have kids is because they're avoiding, what if something happens to the kid?
I think we're just becoming permanent children.
Selfish. But a child is innocent and avoids pain. Adults have to bear responsibility, and because we're such a fragile generation.
Adults are Piccolo standing in front of Gohan, absorbing the blast to save him.
Why not?
That's the meme. Did you see the one with spaghetti?
No.
There's so in Dragon Ball Z, manga and anime, Piccolo is previously an enemy. You know what I'm talking about now. Previously an enemy of the main character Goku. And then in Dragon Ball Z in the beginning, the villain tries to kill Goku's son, and Piccolo stands in front of the blast, absorbing it to save the child.
Raditz?
I think it was Raditz.
Yeah.
Probably Raditz. And then I don't know if he dies from it. Does he die? He does. And then they have to go to Namek. That's what happens. So maybe it was, they have to go to Namek to
bring him back. Yeah,
because the Dragon Balls aren't there. But someone took a bunch of spaghetti, and they took the doll and they put the spaghetti in front of him because it looks like an energy blast. The spaghetti, the dry noodles.
But I think, that summarizes the problem with our generation is we're very pain avoidant and selfish. And I would like to encourage people in our generation to take on more pain so that you can lessen the burden on other people, because we are stronger than we think, but we were raised, I think public school raised us. That's great.
Yeah.
Public school maybe taught us to like to avoid our responsibilities or something like that. We are stronger than we think, and I think we need to live as if that's true.
Yeah. I think one of the problems we're facing right now is the infantilization of humanity in general. Everybody wants to be a permanent child to the point where they're like, you know, sterilizing and castrating people. The Harry Potter meme for everything, it's like, that's a children's book. I like the story, but like grow up, face reality, and people don't want to do it.